Hey, we're back. We're back. We're back. And today we are now going to try and fight this dude right here. By the way, this is wall crawl. I don't think I mentioned that. And so let's say you went through the Pantheon of the Night and you unlocked this stinker, the Pure Vessel. He's definitely a challenge. He's a big challenge, and I remember I spent a good many hours just chilling, actually listening to an audiobook and trying to figure him out. Where it all turned for me and where I had much more control against him was basically this thing where you just jump in the air and figure it out from there. That sounds not like a good plan, but what he does, let me talk through what he does first, and then I'll talk more about my strategy. So he has several different attacks and several different phases that he goes into. His first phase, he's got a dash attack where he'll lunge at you at the bottom. And if you played the Hollow Knight boss at the end of the kind of the standard game, he has a lot of the same tool set. He's just like a more refined version of them, and he hits you for 2, so that's fun. But he'll dash across the bottom. He also does a thing where he will jump up in the air and slam down into the ground, and these columns come up, and they can hit you, or his slam down can hit you. He will appear usually like at the far edges, and he'll send out a splay of daggers that or nails that all come up in a kind of an angular pattern. And he also has, I think it's called a triple slash, where he swings like 3 times at you, and it covers a good amount of distance between the 3 strikes. The other thing, I think that may be it as far as his just standard attacks, but they can stink. He also can parry, and if you hit him while he is parrying, then he'll immediately strike you, and it's super hard to avoid. But the only thing you can do is if you have your Shade Cloak, you can dash through him. Then when he hits phase 2, he has all those attacks that we just mentioned, plus he will channel this big glowing orb around him, and you can't be in it, or you have to step out of it, and then as soon as it erupts, you can occupy that space. You can move in, and then there'll be smaller ones that appear, and you can't be in those. Then finally he'll get to his third phase, where he adds another attack to his arsenal, and he will be at the far edge, and he'll open his cloak, and like this tentacles type thing will reach all the way out about 3/4 the length of the playing area, and it's hard. You have to be up in the air basically to avoid it. So let's talk about my particular strategy on this. I've seen people fight him on the ground. My son fights him on the ground and has a really good track record with it. But for me, where it really clicked is getting up into the air. And when he disappears, you go ahead and jump away from, let's say he was right here on this side of me, and he disappears. I would jump away, and then wherever he appears, I'll react at that point. So if, let's say, he appears and does a dash across, you would just jump over and come back behind him and get a couple hits in. Let's say you're jumping away and he does this thing from the ceiling where he's going to come down. You go right on top of him and pogo his head a couple of times, because always the pattern is the same. He will there will be a space between where his head is, so as far as the columns that come up from the ground, and you will not be hit. If he does his triple slash, that's the only one that's a little complicated. Sometimes you have to jump twice to get over there and time it right. And sometimes you basically just have to jump once because if you'll notice, your double jump sinks you down a bit and would make you more available to get hit by his range. So you have to kind of learn when to kind of pogo him with just one jump and when to go ahead and try to get the second jump in. Um, when he appears on his like splay of daggers or whatever that he throws out, you jumped up, and you can usually see that he's going to be doing that. If he appears all the way far away from you and he does not like dash forward or something like that, then that's what he's going to be doing, is that dagger attack, at least until the very end of the fight. And you just need to pause for just a second, and as they come out, you dash toward him, and your shade cloak will activate and keep you from getting hit by those little dagger things. Then when he moves into his orb phase, you're hopping up and you see that he's doing the orbs and channeling them. He has you can really tell he's doing it because he's like poking into the ground kind of, and you will go and you'll have to just basically figure out how far that reaches, and if you can stand on the outside of it, as soon as it pops, you just dash in and you can get several hits on him, and just the entire time look behind you to see if a orb is appearing behind you, and if it does, break off your attack and immediately go away. And lastly, if he moves into his third and final phase where he hits those tentacle arm, you're jumping in the air, you see the tentacle arm instead of the splay of daggers, and you jump back up and dash toward him, and it's usually enough to then reach him and pogo on his head a couple of times. And so that's how you do it. The hardest thing about this particular technique is just trusting yourself to do it. Because you can't see him. But if you stay on the ground, and it leaves you, in my opinion, far more vulnerable to his attacks. Now, this works with whatever nail situation you have. Quick Slash allows me to get a couple more hits on him. I don't really use magic on him, hardly at all, but I'm just going to leave this. And Unbreakable Strength, I think is just great because your hits they just hit him for harder. So I don't use any nail arts on him. I'm trying to think if there's anything else before we go and try it. I'm going to try to not totally engage in fighting him. Now I'll have to pogo him if he sends up the daggers. Also, when you stagger him, you can get a heal in then, and you can also try to get, you can sometimes get two. So I'm just going to jump up, and see I'm in the air already. That's a dash through. In the air already. In the air. And if you'll just, okay, I have to pogo him. Okay. Pogo, yep. So being up here just allows you to know what's coming, even though you have to commit to doing the jump before he's disappearing and you don't know where he's going to appear. When you're up higher, you have more of an opportunity to react from it. So let's start fighting him now. I'm going to dash through that so I'm safe, hopping him on the other side, and pogo and come and get a hit. Dash through. Over here and get a hit. Pogo. Pow. Okay, I can get 2 hits there. I didn't have time for my double jump because he was too close. And if he's really close on that, again, right there, you have to make the choice to do a single one. Now you're on the outside of those. Back out. Okay, I didn't land my hit, but that's okay. And pop, pop. Yep. And I just, when I come off of that pogo, if he appears. I'm gonna if that wasn't good. If he comes down from the sky, you have to just keep doing your double jump from right after your pogo. Right here, I would pogo, and then do my double jump. So keep that in mind. Okay, jump to the outside, dash in, get a couple hits, and I think he's dead. So that is it. Let's fight him one more time, and let's see how that goes. I didn't really get to talk about the tentacle phase, so let's do this. Let's try it again. Don't get frustrated by him. Try not to freak out. The jumping, for some weird reason, makes you feel a lot more in control and like, okay, I see what you're doing. Now it's not going to click right away. It's just not. But you know, it will. I definitely believe soon enough. Pogo, pop, pop. Oops, I had to be ready for my dash because he parried it. Dash through, pop, pop, pow, pow. Pogo on his head, a double jump. Yeah, here we go. Pogo, pop, pop, pop. Pogo, pogo, pop. Jump to outside, dash in. Get 2 hits in. Pogo, pogo. Dash through the daggers. Dash through the daggers. Pogo. Get him in the back. Pop, pop. Dash in. Pop, pop, pop. Hit him. Here we go. Get to him as he reaches up. There, get your pogo. Dash through the daggers. Pow, pow. Dash through the daggers. Pogo him as he does that, and I think he's toast. All right, so that is the Pure Vessel. Just stick with it. Know that he is one of the most difficult fights in the game. Pretty much, the most everybody thinks the Absolute Radiance is the most difficult, and then these two guys, Nightmare King Grim and Pure Vessel, are kind of your next two, and people have different opinions on which one's tougher. So good luck with the Pure Vessel. You can do this. Just stick with it. Try not to freak out. That is so much of it is just getting to a place where you're not like, where is he? Where is he? You know, to where you can get him. You can do this. Hopefully what I've said is going to be helpful for you, and hopefully you can knock him out. If you have any comments, just let me know. I'll try to answer or give me any tips. And otherwise, if you think this content's good and helpful, give me a like, give me a subscribe. Thank you so much.